All right, what's more dangerous? Power that's hidden or power that's written down for everyone to see? Well, in Federalist number 33, Alexander Hamilton defends two of the Constitution's most feared clauses, the Necessary and Proper Clause and the Supremacy Clause. And he tries to show that it's far from creating tyranny, that these two clauses simply make the Constitution more honest about how government actually works. I'm Matt Haskell. I'm a high school history teacher, and we've been on a journey through all 85 of the Federalist Papers. And tonight we're going to make our way through number 33. And so that means it's day 33 of the Federalist Papers. So let's set the stage. So anti-Federalists had seized on these two clauses in the Constitution as proof that the new government would be unlimited. They claimed that Congress could use necessary and proper to basically justify anything, and that the supreme law of the land in Article 6 would crush state authority. Now, Hamilton is rather, I think he's finally exasperated here, and he calls these fears a misunderstanding, or worse, just deliberate misrepresentation. So Hamilton's going to go on and argue in this essay that these clauses don't create new powers, that they merely restate what's already implied by the Constitution's design. So the core argument here is that Hamilton, he begins with a principle that he's been trying to build up since number 31, and that is power must equal purpose. So he writes, what is power but the ability to do a thing? And if the federal government is given responsibility, like say to tax or to raise armies or to regulate commerce, then it must also have the power to take the steps necessary to accomplish those things. So that's all necessary and proper really means, because without it, every act of government would require a new amendment, and then the system would just grind to a halt. So Hamilton tries to clarify that the clause doesn't give Congress new authority. It simply allows Congress to use means that are appropriate to its existing power. And once again, he's going to write here in 33, it may be affirmed with perfect confidence that the constitutional operation of the intended government would be precisely the same if these clauses were entirely obliterated. So, in short here, the clause doesn't expand the map. It just draws the roads. Now, Hamilton then takes on the Supremacy Clause. That's the part of the 6th article that federal law shall be the supreme law of the land. Now, critics saw it as a proof of federal domination. And Hamilton's like, no. It's simply common sense. When the Constitution gives the federal government power in a specific area, its laws must take precedence. Otherwise, the Union is just a suggestion, and every state can veto the national law at will. And he writes again, a law, by the very meaning of them, includes supremacy. It is a rule which those to whom it is prescribed are bound to observe. So, without supremacy, law would collapse into chaos. Now, Hamilton makes a subtle but yet rather profound point, because he says the only time resistance to federal law would be justified is if the government openly violates the Constitution itself. He goes on to write, acts of the large society which are not pursuant to its constitutional powers will become merely acts of usurpation and will deserve to be treated as such. Now, in other words, lawful power deserves obedience. Unlawful power deserves resistance. That's not submission. That's constitutional morality. So, Hamilton insists that declaring the supremacy of the Constitution and federal law doesn't make the government supreme over the people. It makes the people supreme over all governments. The Constitution is the people's document. Federal law derives its authority from that original consent. So when the Constitution is supreme, the people's will is supreme. Now, Hamilton's chain of reasoning here, first he says the Constitution grants certain powers to the federal government. Then he goes on to say to use those powers, Congress must be able to act, and that's necessary and proper. When acting within those powers, federal law must prevail. That's supremacy. Neither clause adds power. Both clarify power. Finally, the people, as authors of the Constitution, remain the ultimate check. So there's number 33 here, guys, in 5 easy steps. Now, Hamilton's tone in this particular essay is a great deal more sharp, and there's more precision to it, because I think he's getting tired of bad faith arguments that kind of twist logic into fear. His voice has, in the writing, has a rhythm of a teacher saying, "You already know this. Think it through." So he trusts his readers' reason more than their paranoia, and he reminds them that that transparency in power is not danger. It's actually protection. So if we kind of apply what happens here in 33 to our times now, Hamilton's reasoning does have a sense of timelessness to it. The same debates over the elastic clause and federal authority still echo today. And his answer hasn't changed. Broad power isn't lawless power. It's adaptable power. It's exercised under consent and oversight. And he believed the Constitution's genius lay in clarity, not concealment. Now, our takeaways for today. One is that the necessary and proper clause simply allows Congress to do its job. The second point would be that the Supremacy Clause ensures that the Constitution's laws aren't optional. 3, true tyranny comes not from power that's defined, it comes from power that's hidden. Now, Federalist number 33 is Hamilton at almost his sharpest, right? It's logical, it's impatient, and it's kind of fearless. He's reminding America that clarity is not control, it's confidence. And so the Constitution's power is not a threat to liberty. It's the structure that keeps liberty from unraveling. When power is necessary and proper, and law is supreme only by consent, the people remain the ultimate sovereigns of their own freedom. I'm Matt Hasquin, and this is another one of those things that you should just know by being alive. If this episode helped you see how Hamilton turned the fear of the Constitution into reason, please take some time, maybe share it, follow me, and stay tuned because, hey, I'm going to be around for Federalist number 34 coming up. And this is where Hamilton shows how federal and state governments can share taxation, even in wartime, which is, it proves that strength and cooperation are really not opposed. They're not opposites. So thanks for hanging around this long, and I appreciate you watching the episode. Take care.